Next up in the showcase is Survios. You may know them for Creed or various VR titles that have been top selling both in the Quest and the PS VR console. But today we're going to talk a bit about not only those games, but the upcoming Walking Dead Onslaught. So I'm here with Mike McTye as well as Mike Domaguing. Would you guys like to talk about your time in the game industry before Survios?
For myself, I actually originally got my foot in the door in production a long, long time ago. Actually, on StarCraft Ghost, believe it or not, way back in the day. So a lot of lessons of what to do and what not to do during those periods of time. You know, good learning experience is how I like to view it. Since then, I've been in the industry for about 15, 16 years at this point. I've had amazing opportunities to work with great teams on everything from fighting games like WWE All-Stars to awesome MMOs, you know, like Star Trek Online or WildStar, going from one place to another along my journey till eventually a good friend, an engineer, a buddy of mine who had worked on a past company told me to check out this new cool thing called VR. And he convinced me to come check it out at Survios, and it's been about 5 years, and I haven't looked back since.
Wow, it's really been 5 years.
Yeah.
Holy moly! Wow, that's crazy. For me, my name is Mike Domaguing. I am the SVP of Partnerships and Publishing, and I cut my teeth way back in 2003 at a small developer known as Novalogic on the Delta Force brand. So did a few games, first-person shooters. Then from there, went to other smaller mid developers till funny that Mike mentioned WWE All-Stars. So he and I crossed paths unbeknownst to him at THQ, and I worked in retail marketing, and one of my titles was WWE All-Stars. We probably saw each other, never knowing that we would probably, our paths would cross today here at Survios.
Yeah, small industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And from there, kind of worked on a lot of mobile stuff. Worked at Atari. Got to meet the founder of video, or the father of all video games, Nolan Bushnell. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And from there, worked in a bunch of smaller startups. And a buddy of mine is here, and he goes, "Hey, we're looking for somebody. Do you have you and your unique set of skills? Why don't you come over?" Sure. And here I've been for almost 4.5 years.
So with Survios, you guys have been pretty successful, 6 games in 6 years, Quest sales. What can you tell me about Survios in general, your time from starting it to now?
Well, Survios has evolved a heck of a lot since 5 years ago, or even past that today. When I first joined, and Mike was not long after myself. We were about 16ish or so people at that time. Pretty small, and none of the hardware was out yet. We were working on very early dev kits, and remember, even when the Oculus originally first launched, there were no touch controllers, there were no hand controllers. So it's been, the hardware and the systems have evolved, and Survios along with it quite dramatically over the past 5 years. So since then, we've had numerous projects, we've had multiple game teams, we still do going simultaneously. We've grown, at times well over 100 people within the studio, a lot of developers and marketing and biz dev and all sorts of stuff on Mike's team as well, and all sorts of different venues. But I think the biggest driving force for us from the beginning with raw data up through all of our products to now is about innovation and pushing the boundaries of VR. That's always been our primary focus. Is we've never started with the idea of, hey, wouldn't this make a fun game, or hey, wouldn't this be a cool IP? All of our titles started with, everyone says this can't be done in VR, or no one has solved this problem in VR yet. How can we want to work on that? We want to figure that out. We want to figure out how to make weapon interactions amazing and hero empowerment too. We want to solve locomotion so you can run, jump, fly, at incredible speeds without nausea, right? We want to solve melee in VR and make hitting things and getting hit feel incredible. And that's really how all of our products start. And so you see, as 6 years, 6 products, they're all radically different, right? We don't repeat ourselves from, a shooter to an adrenaline platformer to a fighting boxer to a horror, a thriller game, right? It's just that's what the team loves, and that's why all the amazing talented we have come to Survios, is because they want to be, we're very fortunate to be pushing the boundaries of what could be done and figuring out new things in this medium. You just don't get opportunities like this very often, and so that's what really gets everybody excited.
What's also awesome is that, we really like to challenge ourselves, as Mike kind of mentioned already. Mm-hmm. And that challenge is actually, a lot of people enjoy our results from our challenge, right? I mean, when you look at raw data, our first game in 2016, how many people can honestly say that we created a VR game that was the #1 global game over all of Steam, right? I mean, how many people? They actually enjoyed that, right? Who would have said that Creed, Rise to Glory, our boxing game based on the Adonis Creed journey, was actually one of the top PlayStation hits in 2018, 2019. As a matter of fact, it was also in April of 2020. But kind of jumping off kind of what Mike is saying, and he really likes to challenge himself, and him and his team is, sorry to say this, but kind of a bunch of sickos. Because our newest game, which we've kind of shown off, but you'll see kind of what I mean by calling him a sicko. What's the affectionate name for it, Mike?
On which one?
Well, it's The Walking Dead.
Oh, progressive dismemberment.
Where you get to carve your initials into the zombies, cut off limbs. I mean, it's utterly amazing. Stick a knife in them and actually have trouble pulling it out. It's utterly amazing. Again, as Mike said, his team likes to challenge. They have really met that with the upcoming The Walking Dead Onslaught.
So with The Walking Dead, this is our opportunity. Okay, let's go back to weapons. Let's go back to baseball bats and blades and katanas and machetes. And how immersive can we make, ripping apart these zombies, having them attack you, getting stuck inside them, ripping their guts out. And as Mike said, how far could we take this at the time we have? And it truly is disgusting and amazing at the same time.
Do you guys have personal favorite games that you've worked on?
It's hard. It's hard to pick a favorite. I think that's probably the best part of my job. I am super fortunate, so I'm going to cheat and not have to pick a favorite there.
Mike D, do you have a favorite, or are you going to also say that you love all your children equally?
So I kind of help with the marketing side of the world, right? And I really like some of the stuff that we were able to do, right? Where, we had a partnership with Sony, with Creed, that we were able to actually make a VR game into a full-fledged AAA title, or that perception by the consumer, right? And all, that was, to me, was amazing. Again, Sprint Vector will always have another place in my heart, just because we were able to establish it with Oculus and ESL as an esport. And
just to finally to round it back to Walking Dead, so development's wrapping up, a gameplay trailer's on the way. We went kind of into detail on just what you can do to zombies, which sounds spectacularly gruesome. But what else can you tell me? Like, what is your experience in creating The Walking Dead Onslaught?
It is challenging, as you said before. If it wasn't challenging, we wouldn't be doing it. That's what we do, right? And so this is one of those unique experiences where the team is very focused on, we hadn't brought all our technology together yet to date in a single product. And so this is our first opportunity to do that, to bring the shooting and range combat from raw data, to bring the locomotion systems and the learnings we had from Sprint Vector, to bring the melee combat from Creed, and then to bring some of the level design and horror thriller elements, from Westworld that we had worked on. And it's really just bringing all this technology and learnings we had into a product, and then really pushing the envelope forward on the actual weapons themselves and taking those to the next level. It has been a massive challenge, and it's also making it just not fun and immersive, but it's also being true to the world, right? Being true to the brand, right? Being, Walking Dead has a lot with it, right? Into the characters, the personalities, the feelings you're supposed to get. It's a scary place. It's not a world that any of us want to be in, right? And so bringing users into that. So there's a whole bunch that we haven't talked about yet, that I know the marketing team is chomping at the bit to get to. But there's some really exciting stuff as you learn. You go through the story of, we have multiple aspects of the game, but you go through the story of our characters. You also have to do, as you would expect, you don't just start with a full arsenal, right? So there are elements and beats of having to scavenge for things, and as you're fending off all these hordes of walkers, and our engineers in particular have been really pushing the envelope to see how many walkers we can get on screen at once. And let me tell you, it's one thing when there's just a few of them, but when you see a horde of them in front of you in VR and they're all standing the same size as you and you're surrounded, it's a truly terrifying experience. There's a lot of stuff people haven't seen yet. It's a pretty robust game. It's definitely the biggest game we've made to date. There's loads of content, loads of hours of gameplay, more than what we've done in the past. We're really excited about what the team has made here.
But the other thing also, one thing about that's a little bit different than all the others and stuff, against another zombie shooter is, what would it be like if you could get into a Walking Dead episode, right? We've got Daryl, Rick, Michonne, Carol, Eugene, but you can be part of that world that AMC has created. I believe we just finished VO, right? And I believe Norman Reedus gave a shout out, I believe earlier this month, regarding that. He just finished. He's excited about it, right?
That's awesome.
And you know, again, you guys everyone's going to be able to see. We've got a couple of things up our sleeve that we're going to be showcasing later this summer. So be on the lookout for it. It should be fantastic. Yeah, we're really proud of it.